Anyway, we go to this sinker of a show. Boy, the Boston Tea Party. They should have thrown this son of a bitch overboard. Good Lord. I gotta say this at the beginning. I'm amazed at I wouldn't do this if this was when I was getting in the business. And I'm amazed that anybody with any sense anymore wants to get in the wrestling business with what you have to do to yourself, seemingly, in order to be part of this traveling road show. I mean, in all seriousness, you could look at wrestling at any time over the 100 years of the 20th century, whatever era it was in. And if you were an athlete or an athletic guy and you got smartened up to what was going on, even if you didn't get smartened up to what was going on, if you were an athlete or an athletic guy, you could look at this shit and you could say, I could do that, or I might want to do that, or that might not be too bad to try this type of thing. But now, Brian, what kind of fucking moron wants to, at this point, train and dream and actively hope to be involved in a fucking business where not only do you have to fling yourself off high objects through all kinds of furniture and sharp objects, but you have to let guys half your fucking size just pick you up and throw you around or give you moves willy-nilly that you don't know how the fuck you're going to land or where you're going to come down from. I don't know how they're getting anybody anymore to fucking it. I mean, I know that everything changes, and Carl Gotch said that Harley Race was a fucking ballet dancer and he was too over the top. But at what point
But what does Carl Gotch know?
Well, but at what point do normal level-headed fucking people say, well, you got to be a goddamn idiot to want to do that shit? Everybody's either hurt or been operated on or about to be operated on or always on an injured list or stove up in some fashion or about to be fused. And again, just continuing. It wasn't even bad with the furniture. They didn't do the Home Depot hour on AEW this week, but just the things that they're inventing that they think when they talk about it, oh, we could do it this way and you could land that way. And sometimes these things go awry. But is it just all about, let's figure out an artistic way to do a fucking 480-degree flip and go head first through some goddamn object?
I think that's part of it. The other thing is the whole do-si-do aspect of everything. So much of it just looks like guys who have a square dance routine they figured out, and it coincides with someone else's square dance routine.
Yeah.
And, again, between that style and then realizing, I think everyone nowadays, when you watch wrestling, even the people that are like, oh, it's fake, they even recognize, yeah, these guys get hurt. Everyone gets hurt if you fall down, let alone all the time.
Right.
But, now it's just such a different animal in terms of, when guys got hurt when I was a kid watching, they got hurt in the ring. Now, you don't even know when they're hurt, but it looks like every single thing is doing long-term damage. And a lot of it probably is. And like you said, trusting your body to the other person, if there's no structure around that, no mental structure in the wrestlers or no supervising producer of the segment or match or whatever it is, if you leave people to their own devices, it may get the stars they want, it may get the ooze they want, but it may not be the best thing for their bodies. It may not be the best thing for what they're doing, but also, yeah, it's not as appealing as watching guys win squash matches on TV.
Well, and that's another thing is, I don't know whether it's more dangerous today, the bumps they're taking or the goofy idiots that they're allowing to give them bumps. Yeah. That may be, more to the point. But again, I just think, my God, I go back to a period of time where guys were wrestling 6 days a week, 7 days a week. And their living depended on taking care of each other and not doing stupid shit, but at the same time, drawing money and getting the point across. And instead of trying to invent these ridiculous moves, which require obvious cooperation and balancing and steadiness to be able to pull off and execute a backflip off the top of the cage or whatever, and that the risk is high at the same time, they managed to simulate combat without fucking taking unnecessary risks that led to serious injuries and surgeries and structural damage. And I think Bill Dundee, who worked 28 days a month in the Tennessee Territory for 9 straight years. I think the longest he was ever off was a month when he had the fucking dust up with Savage in the parking lot of the gym. Had to have his jaw wired shut.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I think Memphis Wrestling is the kind of wrestling that inspired people to say, I think I could do that. Or I want to get into the business. And I'm not even talking about people who got into the business, just the general nature of it, where it was talking shit, getting into fights, and then those matches, as painful and brutal as they were, and you've seen those pictures of like everyone with black eyes and cuts. I mean, Memphis had the great photos of like Sputnik Monroe all busted up. Like it didn't look as scary.
Do you want a black eye or a neck fusion?
Yeah, it's not as scary as falling off a ladder to me. I'd rather get punched in the face.
Yes.
I've been punched in the face. Falling off a ladder is still a new thing that I don't want to do.
Yes, and say that's what I'm saying is that I just don't know what their minds are thinking when they just continue to do this repetitive shit over and over. What do the kids call it? Spamming the moves and the moves and the moves and the moves, and they're just beating each other up and breaking each other down. And there's not a lot of room for error in this shit when they're tucking their heads, and it draws no money because it stands out, because it makes no fucking, or because it doesn't stand out, because it's no different than anything else that anybody else is doing. But try having a good looking fucking fight where somebody gets a black eye and people would freak the fuck out.
What caused this? What was there anything specific on the show, or was it just everything?
Well, actually, yeah, I was going for. I'll not even do this in chronological order. I'll jump into Will Ospreay and Take a Shit.